All right, so here I am in San Diego. I'm the Lonnie Cawthon, CEO of Learning Council News Media, on the road, San Diego, beautiful weather. They don't want anybody else to move here, though. It's full. Stay home. The weather's amazing, right? I can't even get over it. I could move here. This is really amazing. All right, so in San Diego, we've had a really good conversation all day today. We've had really great sponsors, show and tell, the latest and greatest. It was stunning. It was amazing. We loved it, right? Yeah, we love it. Woo! Okay, so now we're going to finish the day with Dr. Diana Cornejo-Sanchez, CEO of SBC High Tech High. Woohoo! Yes. And also Stephanie Casperson, Executive Director of Technology, San Marcos USD. Yay! Woo! Okay, so we learned a lot, and we still are proud of ourselves. So I'm going to start with that, right? And I'm going to ask these two wonderful women, what are you most proud of, given all the challenges and things we talked about? Stephanie, you want to go first?
Sure. I don't know. Is this on?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Wait, is it on?
Can you hear me?
This little blue light has to be on. We have to be on.
Okay, I think we're on now.
This is
and
so
I should
funny.
know that because we have these in our classrooms at our high schools. So,
Okay.
So I would say in San Marcos, we've got a lot of things we're really proud of. And we've been to a number of different conferences or visited schools to learn from people. And we're like, oh, well, we're ahead of them. Oh, we're ahead of them, which is really a really exciting thing to be able to say. We have a very large focus right now on kind of redesigning secondary schools. So what does a secondary school look like? Because we do a lot of surveys around our portrait of a graduate and are gathering information about students feeling connected to school, and our secondary students don't feel connected to school. And we see that as part of the problem with our attendance right now, is that there's not a connection and there's not an adult that you feel like that you can go to. Why would you want to go to that place? Like, you don't want to go to work and not connect with anybody at your work. And so we're really focusing on smaller communities within a school, because our high schools are 3,300 and 2,800. Like, these are big schools. Mm-hmm. And so how do we make the students feel like they're a part of a smaller community within a school? And how do we make sure that they want to be coming to school? And so that's been a really strong focus for our district. And we're really proud of the work we're doing.
That sounds powerful. Don't you guys agree? I like it. I'm digging it. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. What's your answer to the same stunning question? What are you proud of?
Yeah, there's a lot that we're proud of. At High Tech High, we are small schools, right? We're schools of choice. We're a public charter network of 16 schools throughout the county of San Diego. And we have a really strong project-based learning approach, right? So really making sure that we are extending the learning beyond the classroom, and that our students are able to take what they're learning on a daily basis inside the classroom and apply it to real world context, right? So our students are constantly engaging in the community, alongside the community. They are working together with and for our community in order to really tackle our current problems that we are facing in our society. And so students have the opportunity to take on and live on the roles of which the different pathways that they might see themselves in. So that might be, a video editor. They're filming at, on campus, and they're doing documentaries and they're doing video editing. They might want to be a scientist. There's biotech labs that they're experiencing. So really thinking about how do we open up the school walls into the community so that our students can really start to see and understand their place in the world.
Powerful, right? I love it. I would love to have been in high school being able to do all that. I think I did some video editing. I edited video of cowboys to like an Alabama song. That was I really did this, people.
And you remember it.
I did remember it. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, but it's really powerful for people to have hands-on. Also, it's a reason to go, right? Like what you guys are dealing with, a community thing. Well, these are great and powerful things to be proud of. So we learned a lot today, right? Talking about the fact that AI is moving up from literacy discussion to fluency, because it's an owned instance. It's a wrapped, enveloped, face-plated thing that you don't have to worry about anymore because you can control it as the next sort of stage. And we learned a lot about human intelligence. Like, what are we? Like, hello, you're human, by the way. You, and you. Which is awesome to know, right? Like, I'm a human. Yeah, I have different characteristics in a machine. So we learned a lot today. So I want your takeaways. What did you take away?
I think my biggest takeaway is the personalized learning conversations that we had. As a former principal in Encinitas, we focused a lot on personalized learning. They were one-to-one long before other people were. But I feel like personalized learning was harder to do at that time because AI didn't exist. And now that we're getting some of these different tools, we're not asking teachers to be planning all day, every day, weekends, summer break. We can start to take some of that off of the teacher's plate in order to free them up to do what they need to be doing, which is part of building that connection too, that gives them the time to do that. And I'm excited, but also we've got a lot of work ahead of us. And so it's a little daunting, but I'm excited about what's ahead.
Yeah. Didn't I make you a promise that I'm going to personally help you because I know you're highly understaffed? Because I don't have enough to do, right?
None of us do, right?
Yeah, that's really not true. But okay, but I am, Stephanie. I promised, and I mean to keep that promise. Okay, so Diana, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I got here later because I was with our school principals this morning. But I think for me, in the components that I did see, right, it was looking at like just the different intelligences and how those are evolving. I also was very much impressed with just like the personalization aspect of it. And I think for me, it really goes back to this idea of this tension that I think in so many aspects of our work, folks are having to grapple with, right? With the human component and like the tech component and, you know, what can we release and what do we want to hold on to? And it makes me just think about the work that we're engaging in at High Tech High around really trying to develop a shared understanding for AI and what that looks like in our schools for both our teachers, but our students as well. We formed a committee of various stakeholders and they came up with a policy that is aligned to our design principles. And thinking about that policy in this moment when you all were presenting, I was like going through your presentation. I was like, yes, equity, yes, personalization, yes, collaborative work, yes, authentic or collaborative design.
That out. I would have been like I probably would have got a jig right then. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. So really just thinking about how those very much are aligned and wanting to make sure that we continue to build that out. But agree with this is very much a learning curve. All hands are on deck and it's going to continuously evolve. I think what was really interesting in my previous answer, I talked a lot about our students engaging with the community, and one of our multimedia teachers at one of our high schools was, they have a partnership with the Museum of Contemporary Arts. Students are going to be displaying their work there, and there was like a tension with AI again, right? And it was like very clear, like we don't want AI utilized, and like the students really having to critique that and understand that and ask those questions in order to understand their perspective, but also be able to articulate and share theirs too. It's this like tension that we're living in right now.
Yeah, we're like at a cliff edge right now. Yes.
The other component that I thought was really important was when you talked about using our current curriculum in that personalization, because in San Marcos, at least, we're very committed to the guaranteed viable curriculum. But then when you start to personalize and individualize and use these tools to create lesson plans, how are we sticking to that guaranteed viable curriculum? And so I think it's important that we have that conversation with everyone and not just the few that are here, that we still need to hold on to the research that we've used on how people learn and all those different things that we've been focused on and not lose that into the AI.
Yeah, I agree. And then the next question I'm going to take you guys down the road of is the future. So you bridged it perfectly, both of you guys did, because I talked earlier about the future on our prediction pattern for Learning Council research is liquid curriculum. And what we mean by being liquid is that, yes, you have a minimally or viable thing, right? Like, that's your brand. And you probably have your humanness sort of sponged in there all over the place. But then the average classroom has 30 to 40% mixed ability students. So you've got your teachers out there, they got 30 kids, 10 of them need to be customized for. That's personalization. And the other 10 is like maybe for interest too, like what their interest is. So it's a lot of work. It's not even a human job, right? Like that's like ridiculous. So the AI bringing that liquidity an adaptation to the basic form and structure? Is a branding issue a corralling issue? Like if you imagine, being a cowboy, you got all these wild running horses, you got to corral them all. You can't let them all go running outside. So you've got this, viable curriculum. You want them to at least remain in the 100 acres you're in, but you do want each one to be individual. This is the challenge now for institutions, to be a brand, to attain an objective, but be loosely enough modeled that you can use the word liquid, right? So what do you want to comment on that? Because I think that you just started painting your own future. So the last question was, what's the future? Who knows? Crystal ball time. Okay, you put yourself on the spot there, like, you go, girl.
No, I keep going first. I'm going to go first this time.
So I think that we're in a unique position because this has been part of our founding principle, right? Is that we are very much contextually based in regards to the learning that our students and our teachers are engaging in.
Yeah.
So we value teacher as designer, and we value student interest, student voice, student-centered learning. And because that's how we started from the get-go at the conception, we've been doing that, right? So we have been very fluid. And that changes all the time, right? In regards to the projects that our students are engaging in. I mean, I taught at our schools, and, 1 year our students, in the early 2000s were really into anime. So, hey, as a humanities teacher, I need to teach, plot structure. I need to, teach story development. My kids are nonstop reading comic books. Great, we're going to create comic books, right? And I still get to teach all of those things. And I'm able to be fluid as a learning designer based off of my students' interest. So I think for us, that has been a huge strength of ours, and one that it's not that it's unfamiliar with us, it's what we've been doing. I think now it's really being able to honor teacher as designer and really think about how AI could continue to elevate the work that our teachers are doing with their students, but also really think about efficiencies and things like that. So
I love that. Well, that was a good painting of the future. You're already sort of there, and you're flexibly willing to go even further. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say, I think in your situation, you are definitely further along than our district is, and I think a lot of districts are. And what I steal this from my superintendent, that we have our pebbles, our rocks, and our boulders. And our pebbles are getting swept up with the stream, and they're just going with the flow and moving. The rocks are kind of getting bumped along the way, and the boulders aren't going anywhere. And so how do we focus our time on those rocks? Because the pebbles are already gone and the boulders are going to be hard to move. And it's kind of that bell curve idea of, you've got your early adopters and you've got your people who are never going to. So it's focusing on that middle group and finding what will motivate them. And with 925 teachers and one of me, I have to work on mentoring our principals on how they're going to do this work with their teachers, and how they will work with their grade level and subject area leads on how they're going to do that work with the teachers. And let's hope we get more pebbles down the road.
Wow, that's really a leading from place. Well, I believe everyone's a leader, and you're definitely having to lead on not just what it is, but getting it to a done through others. It's like an evangelist. You're like an evangelist. It's super awesome. Well, I really think that the future is closer than it's ever been before. Does that feel like that to you too? It feels like we talked about future ready schools, blah, 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 future ready schools, blah, 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 forever. And it's like, I'm future ready because I'm doing some tech stuff, right? Or I've got my teachers to start implementing some tools. But now it feels like a complete change is on the horizon, and it's very close, and it's a little scary. So I want to have a final comment from both of you on that part of, like, well, how do we feel about the future? Because let me say one more thing before I turn it over to you. And that is this. We talked about the fact that all the trend data is showing that something is on the horizon of such a shift, because there's like a trend convergence. And what's actually driving that is that humanity has been observing such monumental change in other industries that it's expectations and pressures on schools, even though they can't really be spoken aloud by most of the consumers or named, there's a pressure. And AI is putting it even, we felt it during the pandemic, and especially post-pandemic. And then we're feeling it even more because of AI. And I use the analogy, Henry Ford said, if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. It feels like we're about to build a car. And we're not ready, but we're sort of ready. Like you guys are feeling ready, but there's something coming down. So I want to have a final comment on that future, which can't be named, essentially. How you feel about it, where it's going, what are your thoughts? And you look like you're sort of already there. You're already thinking about an answer. You ready?
Sure. I think for me, the greatest thing is I have always, as a teacher myself, was very much focused on, I'm not here to tell my students what to think, but I'm here to teach them how to think, right? And I think with these new technologies, like that is more critical than ever. And being able to like challenge and engage and kind of like go into the facts and do a level of understanding, I think is going to be absolutely critical. I think that, in one of our, core principles is this idea of relationships and respect, and that humanity component, I think, is going to have to be something that we elevate even more in a space where, technology is becoming even more and more so integrated and maybe even leading. So I think that's the interesting component. I think in terms of education and the role of it in our classrooms and in our schools, I think that it's going to take our educators and our leaders to be learners and continuously adapt, which I would say, really pushes and I would call for industry partners to support in that work. Like this is a cross-sector collaboration, and with it changing so fast and still being in the industrial factory model of education, like we need support in order to be able to keep up and ensure that our students are able to challenge but be ready.
Yeah, I like that you said that. So did you hear that? The companies that are in the room, you gotta like step up and actually go to work beside them. Don't just sell them something and run away into the corner. No. Okay, good. All right. So final comment.
Final
Stephanie.
comment. I would just say that AI and technology right now is moving at such a fast pace, and education moves at such a slow pace that it has had me worried for a few years. But I'm starting to see some momentum, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
And then your comment on industry partners, I was working with Viasat 11, 12 years ago, and they were talking about doing externships for teachers. And that died. And I don't know why it did, but the funding got cut. And I feel like so many of our educators have spent their entire life in classrooms and not in industry. Mm-hmm. And they don't know what it's like to be an engineer or a scientist or something other than teaching and learning. And so I think if we're going to make our schools truly more about the future, they really need to experience what it's like to be a part of some of those professions. And I don't know how we get that to happen,
Wow.
but I think we need to move in that direction.
Wow. I like it. That is great as a comment. Okay. Was that profound? I'm a little dumbfounded. I didn't even know how to end there. Wow, that was great. Okay, so let's give a big round of applause to Stephanie Casperson and Dr. Diana Cornejo-Sanchez. This has been awesome. Thank you, San Diego.